These drills are useless. Now I gotta do it all. Fuck, don't film this shit. Gotta do it all manually. One of the best things about Point Farms, look at this. Nobody at the dump station. Woohoo! Not waiting for a goddamn hour to dump your own. Got all checked in here at Point Farms. Not only am I surprised that the welcome place is like twice the size, but after I pre-registered at home, I checked in, she confirmed my license plate, and she said, you're good to go. And I said, well, what about my permit? She said, we don't do that here anymore. So I don't know if any of you go to Ontario parks and you've heard of this, but no permit on your post? Like, what do you show them when you drive in? This is so weird. I guess we'll wait and see. Maybe there's no posts anymore. I don't know. Very strange. Paperless. So we're all set up at the site. Nice site, very wide open, huge site. I was a little cheeky and snuck our camper in. It's rated up to 18 feet. Our trailer's 22. And the reason they rated it to 18 is because by the time you get your tow vehicle on it, you're kind of out in the lane, which means you could block traffic, but we should be all right. But yeah, they weren't kidding. No permits on the posts anymore. Look at that. Nothing. Just the post. Same thing over there. But there is a conundrum. How are you supposed to hang your sign on it? I mean, I guess you could. Oh, you still kind of can. Yeah, I guess that still kind of works. But yeah, not a site we've been into before. We've stayed in Huron many times. You've seen that on the channel. We've stayed at end sites, but usually a row or two in that direction. But this was a perfect site. I was going to come in on the passenger side and get really close to the road, the side here. But instead, my favorite, I was able to come in on the driver's side. I could have done the scoop, as some people call it, where you come in and go around like you're taking a scoop out of the campsite, so the angle's not so bad. Can't do that very often in provincial parks. A lot of the sites, the openings aren't wide enough to accommodate that. So, but come along on our summer adventure. My God, it's hot. Another really nice update was that the Huron Campground stairs were open again. In recent years, water levels in the Great Lakes were at all-time highs, causing all kinds of erosion, and one of the casualties at Point Farms was these set of stairs that go down the bluff from the Huron Campground to the beach. There's other ways to get to the beach, but this was one of the main ways to get down. We call them the Stairs of Death. They go up several hundred feet. I'm guessing, and at least several hundred sets of stairs. It's not for the faint of heart. But the bottom of these had been completely washed out and destroyed. So for the last couple of seasons, they were completely closed. But we had heard through social media that they had been reopened. Now, I really didn't feel like trying to kill myself in the nearly 40 degrees Celsius heat to do the stairs. So this footage is taken by my two eldest kids, who went down to check things out. But yeah, great to see that these are open again for anybody that wants to use them. They're not very accessible and certainly not for the faint of heart.
I want to fly.
You want to fly?
So, as is tradition, here's campfire number 1 at Point Farms. Just after a very swelteringly hot day, it was so nice to cool off at the beach, and now I can actually sit by the fire and not be sweating to death. Temperature's dropped. It's down to around 24, 25 now. You can see there's a little bit of light left in the sky. Point Farms is definitely our summer destination, though. We used to do Pinery at the height of summer, and it's just too damn busy. Too many people, not enough fill and dump stations. Here you've got, you know, a couple hundred campsites approximately, as opposed to Pinery's 1,000. 2 fill, 2 dump for 200 sites. And as you'll see tomorrow and the next day, Goderich is also beautiful. Lots of amenities, nice beaches there, nice beach here. So yeah, only going to come to Point Farms twice this year, in keeping with our once-a-month trips. But definitely the feel of summer. Well, as you can see, we've started our day slightly moist. Big change from yesterday. Neighbors across the way are paying it forward. They've left some wood in the fire pit and a little bit of wood under the table, although it's all drenched now, but it's the thought that counts. So we had a big storm roll in this morning, about 7:30. Woke up to a big boom of thunder. I had left the awning out, so I immediately woke up to really monitor the situation, see if the wind was bad enough. And it wasn't, although there was a storm. We got very, very little wind here. My son didn't sleep in the tent, but he left the window open, so the inside of the tent is probably a little drenched. Let's go have a look. But the temperature went from high 20s with humidity making it feel like it was in the 30s Celsius. Oh no, it's pretty dry in there. That's good. And now the temperature is probably closer to 22 Celsius, so low 70s. Hoping the rain will soon be done for the entire day and that we might get a little bit of sunshine. Not exactly beach weather right now. This site was listed as having poor drainage. You can see over the years they've added gravel to try to fix that. They've done a lot of that here at Point Farms. But you can see that some of the areas there, yeah, it's going to take a little while to dry out. And even the edge of our, I can't speak, rug got pretty soaked. I'd asked my kids to fold up the chairs and put it so that it was out of the rain. Slight problem, kids. It's got to be under the awning to not get wet. That's okay. Those of you that have been to Point Farms before or watched my videos here know that we're close to the town of Goderich. We realized running a little low on toilet paper and fire starters and a few other supplies. So since the weather's kind of crappy today, I think we'll take a trip into Goderich and have a nice drive, and then we'll see if it's possible to get to the beach a little bit later. Got the naphtha stove going again on this trip. Tonight's menu is a pasta side with some corn and some pork chops. They're having trouble getting a good sear on them. They were still mostly frozen, so we'll get them there. Good barbecue and a good barbecue sauce. And maybe a nice sunset tonight. So we've had dinner. We've got the fire prepped for later. We haven't lit it yet, of course, but we can just put a lighter to it later. We've come back to the beach. And it looks like it might be a good sunset tonight. We shall see. Apparently the water's a lot colder than it was earlier. Not that it was super tepid earlier, but the kids are telling me it's way colder and not as clear, so maybe we'll just paddle a little bit, and man, looks like I caught a bit of sun today. It's about 8:30 or so probably about another 40 minutes till sunset, and then we'll head back for another campfire. At the beach, two little cuties having a snack break. Water's not too bad, even though it's gloomy. And our 13-year-old beach shelter from Yisk finally bit the dust. Kept blowing away, too many rocks to anchor it. And then one of the cords and the poles broke, so we can retire that. I think we got our money's worth. $17 I think we paid in 2009. So, what do you think, guys? Are we going to go back in the water soon? Good talk, kids. In a previous video, I made some comments about the stupidity of letting off memorial balloons in provincial parks. Here's some proof of what can happen. Here's a gull with ribbon either stuck in its throat or wrapped around its beak. I don't think I need to say too much more about this, but yes, those balloons do come back to Earth and it does impact nature. So it's getting on to 6 o'clock, our final day at camp, and as you can see, yet again, we ended up with a pretty beautiful afternoon. It took a while. When we first got to the beach, as you saw in the video, it looked like it was going to rain quite a bit, but it's turned out to be quite sunny. So we're going to have some cheese smokies on the barbecue, and probably another pasta side, maybe a side salad of some sort. And yet again, as is tradition, because the kids love the beach, they're water babies, we'll be back there for sunset tonight. And then tomorrow, sadly, departure day. Make sure there's no water coming in the bathroom or the thing. Yeah. I just got that fire put together. I hadn't put fire starters in it yet, and I knew we were going to have a light shower, so I quickly covered it. And no sooner had I done that than the heavens opened, and the whole thing on the Ontario Parks website about our campsite having poor drainage is being proved once again. This is supposed to be brief, so my 3.5-year-old and I are hunkering down under the awning here. There's no wind. Don't know the tarp's going to keep it bone dry, but hopefully dry enough that it doesn't make it impossible to light later. On the radar, it's just a very thin stream of rain that's supposed to be short-lived. Talk about a trip of contrasts. So, last campfire for this particular trip. And to add to all of the interesting things that have happened here at Point Farms in the last few days, we discovered today that we are now under a boil water advisory here at the park. So anybody filling up their camper today or trying to use the spigots needs to boil that water for a full minute before drinking it or using it for cooking or cleaning dishes. We were lucky. We got here a few days ago. Water seemed to be fine at that point. We've been coming here for 10 years. I've never noticed a boil water advisory, but there has always been postings saying that the water here is high in sodium, which suggests to me it must be on a well system, and it makes sense it would be salty. We're near one of the largest salt mines in the world in Godrich. But yes, if there's been major rain lately and lots of runoff, and it's a well, I'm guessing that must be why. Boil water advisory, so. But yes, using up the last of our firewood. God, that's hot. I gotta back up. Hopefully trying to get a good night's sleep tonight with no rain. Forecast looks dry, and then tomorrow it's departure day, so we'll see you in the morning.